Today we're watching Doogie Howser MD, a 30-year-old medical drama starring Neil Patrick Harris. And we're gonna see how it holds up today.
Today's his 16th birthday. Getting his license would just be the most perfect present.
Forgive me, but I prefer silence during the examination. What are you doing? There's a car. Stop it, what?
Doogie.
In proper speed.
Doogie, you're going too fast.
Unacceptably excessive.
Please, Doogie, slow down.
What are you doing? This is unacceptable. Return to the vehicle.
Let me see.
What are you doing? You must have been drunk. Get out of there.
Hell out of there, kid.
Let go of me.
Walt.
Generally speaking, I say as a doctor, you're not gonna offer a lot of help on the scene of a car crash. Certainly if there's nobody there, you want to come and lend a hand. In this particular situation, it looks like there were just cops. There was no actual paramedics on scene. So I think it's very reasonable that someone like him would go in and try to help.
This man has a dislocated fracture of the femur and he's gonna lose his leg unless I fix it right away. Now hold his torso down while I rotate his leg.
What the hell are you talking
There's no
about?
pulse behind the knee. He'll lose his leg to gangrene.
We're not moving this.
Just hold it down. And you brace his neck. Please, hurry. Here we go. You ready? Okay. Okay, we're getting some circulation. Is he still breathing?
Yeah.
Good. Now go get me something I can use for a leg press.
Dr. Howser identified that he had this displaced femur fracture. He said dislocated femur fracture. That's essentially when the bones are out of alignment, and sometimes that can cut off blood flow to the leg. So he's absolutely right, it needs to be reduced. Now where it gets a little unrealistic, the ability of a 16-year-old boy to reduce a femur in his bare hands on the side of the road is pretty unlikely. The best thing to do would be just to splint the leg, bring it to the hospital, and have it reduced there. The other thing is you don't need to reduce it that second. Warm ischemia time is several hours, so you do actually have some time. Time to package the patient, safely bring them to a hospital environment where pain medication, sedation, and resuscitation can happen prior to the reduction.
Age 6, admitted 5:32 a.m. with cardiomyopathy and failure. We did a chest x-ray, EKG, and an echocardiogram. He has a murmur of mitral insufficiency. I gave him digoxin 0.125 milligrams, Lasix 20 milligrams BID, and aldactone 12.5 milligrams BID. Also, I'd like to send him to nuclear medicine for a cardiac scan at 9:30.
Thank you, doctor.
So in this scene, you see untied shoes, an untucked shirt, generally appearance of a unkempt kind of 16-year-old. And I know they're trying to set the stage that he's still rough around the edges, he's still learning, he isn't exactly looking the part of a doctor, but it does speak to his trainability. Professionalism is a hugely important thing in medicine. Looking the part, acting the part, and behaving in a way that makes patients feel uncomfortable, which is very often how you present yourself, is critical. And if he's not exhibiting those behaviors, it makes you wonder, how trainable is this boy genius, Dr. Howser, anyway?
Well, I guess it looks okay. Maybe I won't sue.
Well, if you change your mind, the statute of limitations for malpractice is 3 years.
Are you a lawyer too, Doogie?
Nah, I just read all the books.
Listen, there's no one else waiting in the ER. Do you want to walk with me a minute?
Where?
Come on.
What's going on?
Doogie, we're friends, aren't we?
Uh-huh.
And friends share secrets with each other, am I right?
Yeah, I guess.
I like younger men, Doogie.
Okay, so this is questionable. She's clearly an early 20s nurse, and remember, Doogie Howser is 16 years of age.
I always have. And on a few occasions, I've caught you, well, admiring me.
We should probably get back to the ER.
And I was just wondering, given our mutual attraction towards each other, and given the fact that we probably function better professionally.
And she's blocking his attempt to exit the room.
If those attractions were extinguished, it might make sense for our respective fantasies to be quenched. Huh? Oh, Doogie monster.
Oh, Nurse Spaulding.
There's just one thing I have to tell you before we do this.
What's that?
Happy birthday, Doogie.
Surprise! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
Okay, this is literally the most out-of-pocket scene I could imagine. A 16-year-old boy gets tricked into this private room, has his pants pulled down by a 20-some-odd-year-old woman in front of all of his colleagues as a birthday surprise. I mean, I'm sure HR would have something to say about this. Wow. I mean, maybe things were different in the late 80s, you know? This was acceptable? I don't know. Definitely wouldn't fly in 2023.
My friends think it's really cool about you being a doctor and stuff. It must be amazing. Okay, no big deal. I'm really glad you came to the dance with me, Douglas. I'm glad you asked me. What's that? My pants alarm. My beeper. I gotta call in, Wanda. Right now? Sorry.
One of the most realistic things is when you're doing something personal, trying to get connections with family, friends, or romantic partners, and getting called away. Oftentimes, doctors, even though we're not on call, things can happen in the hospital, emergencies can happen, and we have to respond. And Dr. Howsers made an investment in this patient. I think he's gonna run into the hospital. He didn't make it.
What happened?
He was asleep in his bed when he suddenly started to fibrillate. We worked on him for over an hour. I'm sorry, Dr. Howser. I guess there was just nothing either one of us could have done.
I really like how he calls him Dr. Howser. It's great to see his colleague give him that respect. I don't think we necessarily call ourselves doctors that often. I certainly use first name when I'm talking to most of my colleagues. But in this case, I think it's really important that Doogie, because of his young age and new role in this hospital, get treated with respect, and it's great to see that from his colleague here. One thing this show is doing well here, it's really giving us the experience of a young doctor losing a patient that he had a close connection with. This is a big part of growing up as a doctor, maturing in your practice. We all lose patients from time to time, and those first patients affect us the most. But it's also important that we don't lose our humanity as we get more comfortable with the death and suffering of our patients. Even though inevitably we are more used to it and more prepared for those situations, holding on to that humanity is very important, and they demonstrate that very well here. Well, that was Doogie Howser MD, show from 1989. I'll say it doesn't really hold up well by the standards of 2023, still a fun show. It launched Neil Patrick Harris's career, and people make pop culture references to Doogie Howser even today, 30 years later. Well, thank you for watching. This is Knife Skills. If you made it to the end of this video, I'd love for you to watch this video below where I comment on a recent episode of Grey's Anatomy. As always, thank you for every single like and subscribe. Until next time, have a great day.